Battled Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore is fighting back and raising new questions tonight about his relationships with teenage girls.
Well, this comes as the GOP tries to do damage control after that stunning sexual misconduct accusations came to light. KCON9 political reporter Bryan joins us now with Moore's latest defense and how Trump's former chief strategist is now stepping into the fight. Dave?
Yeah, Moore said today, it wasn't me, okay? Maybe somebody else. It wasn't my problem. And there were still plenty of questions, though, by the time he finished his interview. Always a divisive figure, Judge Roy Moore, who was removed from being a state Supreme Court justice twice, is fighting to save his political career tonight, and he may win, despite allegations that he engaged in sexually provocative activities with a 14-year-old girl in the 1970s. On Friday, he gave his response to the allegations. Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore took his case to conservative radio, Sean Hannity's show, on Friday, denouncing the charges that he sexually abused a 14-year-old girl in 1979, first reported by the Washington Post.
These allegations are completely false and misleading. But more than that, it hurts me personally because, you know, I'm a father. I have one daughter. I have 5 granddaughters, and I have a special concern for protection of young ladies. This is really hard to get on radio and explain this, and these allegations are just completely false.
Moore acknowledged that he dated very young ladies, but always with their mother's permission, he said, and never did he ply them with alcohol. But he vehemently denied that he ever met his chief accuser, who was 14 years old, when he was 32 years old, and allegedly sexually abused her.
I don't know Ms. Corpman from anybody. I've never talked to her, never had any contact with her. Allegations of sexual misconduct with her are completely false.
But Birmingham News columnist John Archibald told me in a Skype interview tonight he feels Moore still left a lot of questions unanswered.
He said he only went out with teenage women when their mothers knew about it, which I thought to be a very interesting and sort of striking statement. It sort of raised more questions than it answered.
Moore had plenty of defenders, including Republican Alabama State Auditor Jim Ziegler, who defended Moore in the name of Jesus Christ, stating Mary was a teenager and Joseph was an adult carpenter. They became parents of Jesus. There's just nothing immoral or illegal here. Alabama State Representative Ed Henry went even further, attacking Moore's accusers, telling a local newspaper if they believe this man is predatory, they are guilty of allowing him to exist for 40 years. I think someone should prosecute and go after them.
To see the state auditor, for instance, write this off as something that that Joseph and Mary might have done. To see state legislators say that the accusers should be prosecuted. I mean, this is just an incredible flip-flop on what they would normally stand for as so-called moral Bible-thumping Republicans. I'm working on a column right now that essentially says unbuckling of the Bible belt is what we have out of our holier-than-thou religion is, we're just naked like the emperor in his new clothes.
In South Carolina tonight, Breitbart News Executive Chairman Steve Bannon, who supported and campaigned for Moore in the GOP primary, told a Republican dinner at the Citadel, a military college in Charleston, there's more to this story than the news media is reporting.
Judge Moore said today that they're finding some collusion going on in those stories about Judge Moore, right? And I think you're going to find in the mainstream media either tonight or tomorrow, I think there's going to be some pretty interesting stories about how that information got dropped and who paid for it and who weaponized it.
Bannon may have been referring to a phone interview by Roy Moore's brother in which he reportedly said Moore's accusers are either being paid or supporting Moore's Democratic opponent, and he compared the allegations against Roy Moore with the persecution of Jesus Christ, a theme we mentioned earlier. In Washington, more than a dozen GOP members of Congress are saying Roy Moore should withdraw from the election if the charges against him are true.
If they're true, he should step aside.
The Alabama voters are deeply divided on the Moore charges.
If they're true, that's bad. He needs to step out of the race. There's no question of that.
All of a sudden, 2 weeks from now, all this stuff come up. I believe there's a lot of BS.
I really do. You know, I think he's a nice guy.
In the end, though, many of the experts believe Moore will be the choice of most Alabama voters.
They're essentially saying we would prefer that guy to any Democrat. And that's a stunning thing, even from somebody who's watched Alabama politics for 30 years. But my gut tells me that Roy Moore wins regardless. Right now, it looks like they're energizing the Moore base, which I'm sure from California looks like, you know, what's going on down there.
Now, Roy Moore's campaign got some bad news from his own party today. The National Republican Senate Committee, campaign committee that is, announced it will stop raising money for Moore's campaign. The election is just over a month away. Voters will be going to the polls there on December 12th. Jeff, Lena, back to you.